My name is Katie DiMarino, and I teach 7th grade English Language Arts. I implemented ADDIE to design a perseverance project. As we prepare to read Elie Wiesel's Night and the Miracle Worker by William Gibson in class, I had students select another individual who has persevered to conduct research about. The unit was implemented within my 7th grade English Language Arts classroom. We utilized Chromebooks within the classroom. Each student at my school has a Google account through the school network, so they were able to complete and share all assignments via Google. The purpose of the unit was twofold. Students learned how to conduct research and properly cite MLA sources while also creating a 5-paragraph essay with a 3-point thesis statement and corresponding topic sentences and details. Students accessed all of the materials within their Perseverance project folder within the Google Drive. The materials utilized by the students were made in pre-created templates using the Google Drive. The 4-square thesis statement was used for pre-task A. Students had to create a 3-point thesis statement using the 4-square method and were given an example followed by a template to do the same on the second page. The next document provided to students was for the outline of their research. Students were provided with a color-coded template to provide their source information as well as plug information into this outline, which was also color-coded. So students were plugging their own information over top of the outline information. Students were then given the opportunity to create a final copy in MLA format by using the template provided here. The last Google document used by students was the peer editing checklist, which was used by students to determine if their peer had met the requirements on the rubric. Here is the peer editing checklist. There were several pre-tasks that I required of students to develop prerequisite skills. The first was pre-task A, which was writing a thesis statement, and students throughout the project viewed a series of these video tutorials to ensure that they understood the task at hand. So pre-task A was a thesis statement. Pre-task B was some guidance for finding appropriate sources. And the last pre-task for students was knowledge of how to cite in the MLA format, and students were required to cite a practice source from the Oprah Winfrey website by clicking on this link here to go to that practice source, watching the video in which I highlighted the key parts of the article, and then the students followed a series of directions in which they actually cited that practice source and submitted that to me for a grade. After completing the pre-tasks, students selected a topic, self-selected with some options to choose from if they were struggling with that choice, and proceeded through the steps of creating an outline with thesis statement, creating a final copy with in-text citations in their paper, and then finally the peer editing process, and ending with a self-evaluation in which students compared their own performance against the class rubric, and then using Google Forms rated themselves within the form on each key piece of their outline. Lastly, the project ended with a brief Google Slides presentation in which the students would share their final findings and highlight key points for their classmates. Overall, I feel that the project went very well. Students were very engaged because they had that element of choice as well as working with the technology. I found the Google Documents to be very effective because I was able to share and provide feedback back and forth with the students continuously as they were able to do the same with the peer editing. One thing I would change would be perhaps the formatting of the directions being all on this page for a 12-year-old. This is a lot of information. Even though the headings are broken down and labeled, students still struggled with finding their place from period to period. Perhaps using some kind of a learning tool such as Moodle or iLearn Ohio, the new ODE tool, would help break this down into smaller parts for students to only see the one task they're currently working on in order to complete that. The biggest change I made throughout the project was probably catching little nuances in the directions that needed to be more specific, because what was in my mind didn't always align to the 11 and 12-year-old ability to follow these directions. So probably the biggest change was going back throughout the project and making those little changes to the steps as I went. While I do feel that I have implemented elements of instructional design in the past, this project really helped me to correlate my assessments right back to those objectives, and incorporating the pre-tasks was a neat idea that I had gained from this project. That's something I would not have thought of previously. Overall, it's a project I will use again. The students enjoyed it. They seem to get a lot out of it. Their final papers are proving to meet the guidelines set forth and meet my objectives. So please feel free to use the link to explore my project page in greater depth, and thank you for your time.